All right, I want to welcome you to week three. In this week, while it looks like I'm having you create your company, a big part of this is not just the company, but it's also in figuring out how you're going to position your brand, what, and basically that means how you're going to be unique. So there's part of the assignment is for you to tell me about your unique value proposition. And basically, that's your brand promise. It's what you're going to deliver to your audience that is unique from everybody else. So, one of the first things is really to decide on what you're going to do. You're going to use the research from last week to decide on what problem you're going to solve for a specific segment of the target audience and deliver products and services based on not just what you'd like to do, but how you're going to be relevant, interesting, and unique to your target audience. So, this is something that everybody struggles with on all levels, from big companies to startups like what you guys are doing brand new. If I had an opportunity, um, to spend more time on this, we would. But the way I've designed the class, and you guys are this first run into, FSO 4.0. I am spending a little bit more time with you guys on thinking about this. And I know it's late in the week, uh, what you're getting ready to do. But I've separated this out so that you can be very thoughtful and mindful about what you do, and why it matters. So it goes back to the three questions from the brain gap. And sometimes it just takes some time and thought for you to put this together. And sometimes it may take a few more months from now, as you get closer to the end, to really think about how you're going to be unique and different from everybody else. And some of that relates to being innovative, and you know looking at trends like what we were doing last week. But some of it is just really focusing in on, um, what is that one thing that really stands out that you do really well, or that your audience really needs. So I don't know. I need to give you an example, I guess. I'm going to be interviewing someone at the end of the month who's focused in on, uh, basically he's um, a PR firm, a digital PR firm. But his differentiator is that he can get um, influencers online through online publicity through magazines like Inc. and Fortune. So I know that's hard to communicate as a differentiator, but the fact that he's working for influencers to create digital PR is basically his differentiator and how he's different than just another PR firm. So again, this is kind of tricky to see and understand, but one of the, everything that I'm having you do is leading up to helping you better define your unique value proposition. So the business model canvas is something that will help you basically define what you do, your key activities, who you do it for, your clients or segments, and how you're making money. That's your revenue. The value proposition and the relationships all build on what your brand is and how it's unique. Your key resources and key activities, they go hand in hand. If you're a web design company, your key resource is going to be your online tools and your designer, your webmaster, your SEO tools, etc. that you use. Your partners are not necessarily your partnerships, uh, your business partners, but those that are going to help you do your job better, pull off those key activities. And your costs are basically related to what your resources will end up costing you to get the job done. So don't overthink the canvas. The canvas is a tool that's used to help you put down your ideas and thoughts and brainstorm and innovate for what you think you're going to be developing for your business plan. So your business plan is the final project basically for this program, but in reality, that's the tool that's used to help secure investors and uh, better define what it is you do and how you're going to get the job done over a term like 3 years or 5 years, etc. The canvas documents where you are at the moment. It's a tool to help you get on board and ramped up for what actually you're doing through your key activities. It's based on a book uh, here called Business Model Generation. I didn't write it, but that's my picture, and I don't know why it's there, but basically to let you know that I use it as a tool with my clients to help define what it is they do and how to be unique. And that's why I think this is so important. It makes it very easy then to walk through the example of what I just gave you with the digital PR for influencers, when you might just be thinking about a PR firm or a marketing agency. How can you narrow that down, define it for the audience, and make it work for solving a problem for that specific segment? So the more that you can narrow the focus, the stronger your brand is going to be. Um, we can get into more of the book, but I have the link through Safari Books. I have some reading for you to do, and it goes through each of the blocks to help you understand the canvas. There are two videos. There's more in the series if you want to watch, but I highly recommend you watch the two videos that I've highlighted for you on the business model canvas. And I think it will all start coming together very easily for you to document. The hardest part is committing to what you're writing down, to understand with clarity what you do, who you do it for, and why it matters. And then, I'm not the finance guy here, but I do want to make sure that you have a viable business plan so that, your revenue makes sense based on the costs that are going into it. Like I said, I'm more the branding guy than the finance guy, but I'll give you some input so that next month when you go into finance, you have maybe some insights there. But each and every month as you move forward in the program, you'll be fine tuning your canvas based on your experience with the teacher. So next month, for example, you'll work more on cost structure than you will on branding for obvious reasons. And you'll fine tune this until the end of the program. So don't worry about having everything figured out. We'll give you feedback and guide you along the way, but try to think about how you're going to be relevant for that specific audience and really focus in right now for the next couple days on these three boxes: the key activities, the customer, and how you're making money. Obviously, I want you to fill out all the boxes, but as don't get overwhelmed in everything that you have to think through right now. As you start, you should have a good idea of what activities you'll do for your business and who you're trying to serve and how you'll make money from that. So that's the first step. And I think if you can print this out, you can use it as a brainstorming tool over the next few days, and then I'll give you feedback on it so that you can move forward in development as you create your brand. So if you're not sure here, then how you're going to be unique, I can tell you that cost and value are not always the best. So you can say you're going to be the cheapest, and that works for like the dollar store or not even so much Walmart anymore. But it does work at times, but it's not the best way. And also, when you say quality, quality is kind of a given, right? When you go to a studio or a web design company, you expect that they're going to do quality work. It shouldn't be a way that you differentiate. So try to dig deep. There are a couple of videos that I have you watch. One is from Simon Sinek, and one is from Seth Godin. So if you watch those two, the wheels will start turning, and I think you'll feel better about completing those blocks with value proposition, the customer relationship, and pulling it all together for that specific target audience. As I was mentioning, next month you'll be moving into the finance class, and what you'll need to do then is have a little bit more understanding when it comes to the numbers. For instance, like how much a designer would charge for a logo. And well, that would be more on the streams, but the cost then, how much would it be to hire a designer to create the logo? That's probably more fitting. Or another example might be, how much would it be to rent a studio or the space to have your studio? Or if it's a live venue, how much would it charge? How much would the restaurant charge you to have your event there? So all of those things you don't have to know for me for this week, but it should be something that you start putting together, and that you'll be definitely putting together for next week. If you have any questions, or if I can guide you with that for this week, I'd be happy to do that. So we're using a tool called BM Fiddle, and for the assignment, you're going to submit a screenshot, which is Apple Shift 4, and the link. And it has to be the shareable link. So if you have any questions about which link, please test it out first before you send that to me. Your general link isn't going to work, and what I mean is you need to be signed in. I'm going to skip to, well, hold on. Sorry. Thought I had the link here. Let me just go to it. So I want to show you this because it's a little tricky how they have it set up. You'll go to Fiddle Now, and then you'll need to sign in or register first. So I've already signed in, but you'll need to register for the first time here. Okay? So if you have any questions about that, let me know. Otherwise, the site is very intuitive, makes it easy to use, and easy to navigate as you go through the different boxes. There are questions under each box, and it doesn't really matter where you start, but I think from my perspective, in the way I teach it, it's just easier to start under key activities and move around. And I think you've had some experience in this in other classes, but if you haven't, it's okay. I'm giving you everything that you need to really connect the dots. It's more about making a decision and really thinking this through so that it makes sense for the business plan that you're going to be developing. But if you have any questions on the tool itself, just let me know. And just remember to, I'll show you here. Like that's your full link that you're going to share. But let's see. So I want to show you something here. So you can type and add new things, and whoop, you see the green button, the green check mark. You're going to click on that when you're ready to save. So that means you're logged in, and that's what I wanted to show you as you move forward so you don't lose anything. And then you're just going to take a screenshot, Apple Shift 4, and add that to your Word doc along with your company overview for this week. And as you're moving through this process, what's really important, because your final project is based on this, um, is how you're going to be unique. So, from what you did last week, you should have a pretty good idea of, for instance, like what a studio does and what a web design company or artist manager does. And now your challenge really is not so much on just filling this out, but really trying to figure out how you're going to stand out and be unique. You don't have to worry about a company name or any logos right now, but it is something that you're going to be doing for next week. The assignment I have out for you to look at is not due this week. The brand identity or the brand strategy project is due the final week because we're going to work more on developing your brand and working through the different components that you'll see throughout this week and next. So, like I said, the resources I have for you are pretty thorough and to the point. I think you'll get it. If you have any questions about what I just told you about any of the blocks, just let me know. And there are a couple examples here in the slide deck that I'd like to review just so that you get this and it really sinks in. So let's see, here we go. Let me just stop there, and Armando, if you want to type in any questions, you feel okay with where we're going, I'll keep moving ahead. Do you have any questions at the moment? Or I can give you the mic as well. Okay. So I want to tell you about a couple brands that you're aware of, and I'll just give you highlights of a couple of their components of their business canvas. So what you're seeing in front of you is the canvas for the iPod. And obviously, it's outdated a little bit in today's terms because we have phones that can play streaming music from Spotify or YouTube or SoundCloud or whatever source you use. But back in the day, obviously, this was a disruptor in the market because there was not a platform before that was considered a legal platform that people could actually buy songs, and not just songs, but single songs, and that made a big difference in how people viewed and played music. So the whole concept was unique, but it worked because there was the iTunes store that you can see as a way that they've generated revenue, and the whole experience. So part of the value proposition in the hardware itself. So those three components alone were critical, but there were other aspects as well, right? If you went on to iTunes and there were only a couple artists, then you would have probably not have invested the time and effort or the resources to buy an iPod. So over here under key partners, the record companies affiliation and partnership with Apple and the iTunes store made it really all come together. Obviously, each of these segments were very critical in the success of the brand. Probably the other aspect that was critical is the actual store itself, so that we could actually go in and hold it, because at that time, online buying was not done that much, and if it was for small ticket items. So they really did envision the future that we would buy things easily online, but they knew that we had to experience it in our hands first, and that's why having that retail presence, even the fact that it went mass distribution through Walmart, was very critical. So you can't just say that creating the hardware itself made that brand what it was. It was really all of these pieces of the puzzle coming together to make that brand successful. All right. So I hope that makes sense, and why this is such a cool tool to use for you guys is that it's about innovation and really thinking ahead of just the products and services alone. So this is the old Netflix, and obviously a little bit outdated here as well. Their key activities, big on content distribution now, and creating all kinds of new shows that we didn't think about when there was just the DVD that was being mailed to our house. But I want to highlight this because it is still a good example. When those DVDs, and I know hopefully we can all remember that time, when those DVDs were mailed to our houses, they got there fast and they got there in one piece, hopefully. There were times maybe that it didn't happen, but overall 99% of the time they got there fast and in one piece. So if you look under partnerships, um, you can see the Postal Service. That's the United States Postal Service. And in order for them to achieve the success they had, the mailing system was part of it, not all of it, but it was a big part of how we began to trust and think different about not using uh, Blockbuster and to start using an online resource like Netflix to solve the problem of having Netflix in our homes. And that's really the big one. The other aspect is to offset that cost was advertising on the envelope itself. So again, without all of these pieces uh, coming together, it really wouldn't have been the brand that it is today that we can experience Netflix. So with this activity, it's really about you guys creating and thinking about your brand that you're developing for your business plan, and using this tool that you'll be using throughout the rest of the program to think through a solution for your target audience. So there's not just one single way to do it. Hopefully the examples gave you that information, and you feel a little bit more confident about going to BM Fiddle and working on your canvas. So like I said, there are some resources, the videos here, there's episode 1 and 2, and they're very helpful in bringing this concept to life. So I highly recommend you do that. And if you have any questions, then I'd be happy to work with you on the concept or the idea so that you feel better about it. And if you want, you can take a screenshot of this, and I'd recommend printing it out and being able to talk through it and work on it as you go through the next few days so that you feel confident as you move on to the bmfiddle.com. So these are just the screenshots then for BM Fiddle, and I've already gone through this for you and showed you that example. But if you have questions, just make sure you register first and go back in and out of it so that you know that it's saved, and share that link. That's it. So I'm going to end with that, and then I'm going to put the lecture notes on differentiating your brand and the value proposition under the differentiation lesson online for you, so you'll have that. I think it'll make more sense. That way you'll be able to move through this first, and then fine tune it through your differentiator second. And so, like I was saying, there's a few resources and videos. The links are provided, and I'll make sure that you have access to those. But if you want Simon Sinek and his video on how great leaders inspire action, and Seth Godin's how to get your ideas to spread. And be sure that when you get everything done, that you realize that the final project is due next week. You don't have to have all of that done, but there are a few things you can get started on. And one of those is to read the article Pursuing Strong Brand. And there's some things related to your trademark that we'll be talking about. So that's it. I hope that makes sense. And if you have any questions, just shoot me a message, and I'd be happy to help you out. Tomorrow I have a busy day, but I'll be checking in on you guys and giving you some feedback if you have any questions. All right, so I'm going to end this session here. And Armando, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those for you.